Thank you. That was Director Laura Staffield from Heritage Hills High School. The members of the students in the South Venture Music Program had a previous commitment and were unable to be with us tonight, but maybe next time. And wasn't that wonderful? What a great, great group of kids. Thanks so much for all the students for performing and also performing for us, and many times when we ask them, they do a beautiful job and they are award-winning people, so bless them and God bless America. Reverend Jill Ketzel will now provide the invocation before the meal. Reverend Jill, would you please step to the podium?
Will you bow with me for prayer? Gracious God, we give you thanks for this beautiful day and for the food we are about to enjoy. We ask your blessing on this Spencer County Chamber of Commerce, the work they do, on the board, and the volunteers. And we pray that you will continue to bless our county so it will be a place where residents, businesses, employees, and people of all faiths, languages, and colors may enjoy prosperity. Kindle within each of us the desire and the ability to work together for shared goals. This is in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. We are going to have a fabulous meal prepared by Tim Flick and his staff with corradellas, and Oink is his food truck, but we're doing corradellas tonight. So Al, where's Al? We're going to ask Al to try to keep everybody in line and get everybody so that we can all probably eat in a half an hour and get our program on time. So thank you all and enjoy your meal. And we are going to take that table and then both of you, okay. And then that table, right? And then
Okay.
And then, yeah, Al's going to give that direction.
So we're going to start with the head table here and work our way back to the back here, and then start on the other side and work our way forward. Sorry, guys.
so I would like to take just a moment for all of us to quiet ourselves and remember Donnie Winkler, Mayor of Rockport, who passed away this last couple of days, and his family. Just a second. So God bless Donnie. He did great things for the town, and I'm sure his family is grieving. He was a great man. So welcome to the Spencer County Regional Chamber of Commerce. I emphasize regional because we work very hard at that we all work together. It's the annual dinner. It's the 23rd to be exact, and I have been here for every one of them. And sometimes they're huge. I've been to about 100, and I'm just going to be 92, so I don't know that math doesn't work, does it? Anyway, my name is Pat Cook. I guess you know that, and I will be your MC in this evening because Kathy Treader keeps putting my picture in the paper. Quit. Okay, quit. I would like to thank Reverend Ketzel for the invocation, and a big thank you to all our sponsors. We're going to introduce you as our sponsors. We so much appreciate your help and your involvement in our chamber. Stand as I introduce, and everybody hold your applause until the end, please. Platinum sponsors, AEP Indiana Michigan Power. Please stand.
Sorry, you said I'm just so thankful.
Holiday World and Splash and Safari, please stand. I'm standing. Silver sponsor, Spencer County Leader, Kathy Treader, the woman behind and Don Steen, who's at every occasion. Ken Short's Equipment. Great. Hoosier Hills Credit Union. One of their people is on our board. Mulzer Family of Companies. I know that's Greg and Keith and a couple of ladies. Thank you. And Kimball International. Du Bois County people got here. Good for you. And PSC. PSC is here. We thank, and then the bronze sponsor is Perry County Memorial Hospital. Are they here? Perry County Memorial Hospital. Thank you to all our sponsors. The Spencer County Regional Chamber of Commerce has only two fundraisers every year. One is this dinner, and another is the golf scramble. And so we really appreciate your support and your coming this evening. We hope you have a great time. Now I will introduce the members of the 2023 Spencer County Regional Chamber Board of Directors. When I call your name, please stand and stay standing until all have been recognized. And once again, audience, hold your wild applause till last, okay? This is not the first rodeo for our 2023 chair, Rob Schulte, owner of Key Associates in Rio. Our vice chair is Al Keller with the Cook Development Holiday World and Splash and Safari. Our secretary is home with COVID. We told her not to come, okay? Our secretary is Jenny Thomas, Executive Director of Spencer County Habitat of Humanity. Our treasurer is Tammy Hamilton, who represents Spencer County Bank. Board members include Matt Bunner from Mulzer Plush Stone. Matt Bunner? No. Jane Ship, owner of Matilda's Event Barn and Bed and Breakfast. Andy Summers, Southern Indiana Power, and owner of Lakeside Cabin. Jeremy Kincaid with Kincaid Insurance. Wayne Blake with PSC. C.J. Katoy with Hoosier Hills Credit Union. And ex officio members, and this is really important, include Spencer County Commissioner Tom Brown and Melissa Arnold, who's Executive Director of the Spencer County Visitors Bureau. Our emeritus members are Kathy Treader, publisher of the Spencer County Leader, and myself, Pat Cook, founder of the Santa Claus Museum and Village. Everybody, thank you for your help. We've had great attendance at the board meetings and great enthusiasm from the young people, which we're glad to have so many young people on the board. I'd also like to ask any elected officials who are here to stand and be recognized. Any elected officials or their representatives? I know Brenda Goff is here, right? Anybody else? Thank you.
Oh, Jane. Jane is from the town of Santa Claus. Jane Lindsay from the town of Santa Claus.
Jane Lindsay from the town of Santa Claus. Okay. I couldn't see that far.
From North Spencer School Board.
Outdoors, school board. You weren't on my list, I'm sorry. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Indiana's Secretary of Education, Dr. Katie Jenner. Prior to her appointment, Dr. Jenner served as Senior Education Advisor to Governor Holcomb and provided guidance on statewide policy and initiatives for preschool, K-12, and higher education. Katie is committed to ensuring that all students are prepared for the competitive realities of our 21st century economy. Dr. Jenner holds a doctorate in educational leadership from the University of Kentucky. We'll forgive you for that. She also holds a master's in business education from the University of Kentucky, MBA through Woodrow Wilson Fellowship at Indiana State University, and a bachelor's in business from Transylvania University in Kentucky. Let's give a warm Southern Indiana welcome to Dr. Katie Jones.
Is there a best way?
Just click.
Okay. Just click on it. Oh, back. I was testing him. So I'm going to set my timer because I am a true educator. We always were taught to teach bell to bell. And since we don't have any bells, nearly always, because I love all the words, I set my timer, so I'm going to do that for you all tonight. It's going. My plan for this evening is certainly to lay out the education landscape and the value of community partnership, K-12, working with higher education, working with business and industry, which is 100% why I'm so grateful to be here in Spencer County, in this region, to celebrate you and a lot of work that is happening. So after I take a little time to do that, I'm going to invite a couple of superintendents up to the front. It's not a competition, gentlemen. I'm going to invite North Spencer County School Superintendent Dan Sherry and South Spencer County School Superintendent Brad Snyder, and I'm going to interview them. So, but before that, I'd like to just share with you something that many people, I'm sure probably no one in here knows. I married a Hoosier 16 years ago, and I live in Madison, Indiana. I live in the southeast part of the state. Madison's right on the river, just like you. About 45 minutes from Louisville, Kentucky, about an hour and 15 minutes from Cincinnati, Ohio. And my office is in Indianapolis, so yes, I do travel back and forth. I burn up the roads on 65. I have twin 7th grade daughters. I'm a mom. I always say that, and I know our legislators are not here tonight because it's the end of legislative session, but I kind of wish they were because I would want them to hear this too. I feel like it's tougher to raise, more difficult to raise twin 7th grade daughters right now, my eye just started twitching, than it is to work with 150 General Assembly members from all over the state. It's a lot for all you parents, but I love it and I'm thankful. But I grew up in Davis County, Kentucky. I was, other than a state line dividing us and a massive river, I was your neighbor. I am your neighbor. So coming here today, it gives me cold chills to say because I was on the phone with my mom, and my mom was like, well, what are you doing today? And I'm like, well, I'm going to Spencer County. And all of a sudden, all of the memories started to come back. And she said, do you remember our Girl Scout troop camped in Spencer County at the Lincoln State Park? And of course, Holiday World and Splash and Safari, I've been many times. Was there last year and had a group of the teenage girls convince me to go on the Thunderbird. I thought I was not gonna make it. I'm just gonna tell you. So lesson learned. It like takes your breath away immediately. They did not warn me. I shared at our table Rio Drive-In. Many times at Rio Drive-In. I always behaved, I promise, but I was there. The other thing is, we always got our Christmas tree from this county or this area, and I was asking my mom, like, what was the farm called? And she couldn't recall, but there was a beautiful Christmas tree farm in this area, and you're probably all figuring.
I bet it was Whippoorwill.
Whippoorwill. I'll tell my mom, Whippoorwill. So my Christmas tree always came from this area. Most recently, Kathy, did anyone watch the COVID pressers? Anyone? Or you're all like, we put them out of our mind forever. I get it, so did I. But Kathy and I had never met in person, and I was always with the governor in those pressers, and so every time Kathy would call, I'd be like, oh, thank goodness it's Kathy. Because I knew the question was coming from like a genuine, sincere place of wanting to know and knowing we didn't have all the answers. And by the way, the media was very kind, but Kathy, I probably shouldn't have a favorite. Don't tweet this, then I'll get all the hate from everybody else. But you were one of my favorites. Immediately when I came in, I was like, we've got to get a picture together. And then of course, Pat Cook, who we recently met when she won the SACM Award at the governor's residence and had dinner. And I have to tell you this story. I told our school board member, we were sitting at dinner. I don't know if you remember this, Pat, probably. And you were like the entertainment. Everybody was listening to your stories and all about Santa Claus. And she said, Governor, I just want you to know, I told that lady right there that we've got to do a better job teaching reading. And I'm like, yes, she did. Nothing like telling your boss, giving you an action item at the dinner. But all that to say, Spencer County in this area means a lot to me. So while I'm a southeastern Indiana girl, this is where I grew up. This is my homestead, my old stomping grounds. And again, most people don't know some of that, and I'm struggling to click again. Let's see here. This is what teachers go through every day, right? When you have a room full, a classroom full. Now I'm dictating my presentation. I need to phone a friend up here. No one is getting up. Okay, good. Where's Al? Oh, Al's trying to. Al, I pressed something. What, is it good, Al? I'm just gonna click one time. There we go. Thank you, Al. Al. Good job. So I'm gonna fly through this, but all of these slides you are welcome to. Please use them, please share them. I'm gonna start by level setting a bit on how it's so important that we work together as partners, K-12, higher ed, workforce, business and industry, to maximize our students' success. We'll talk about high level, the vision for K-12 education in Indiana, some recently deployed tactics, and then we'll get straight to our superintendents. I bet you're nervous. Don't be. And I'm not clicking again. Al, can I just point to you? All right, or I'll clap, I'll point. I'm just kidding. There we go, next. And I'm gonna move through pretty quickly, Al. You can go to the next, yeah? So we know the value of our K-12 educators. And are there any in the room tonight? If you could please stand. Stand up, stand up. Thank you. K-12 education is such a purpose-driven, it's really a mission, it's a calling. And we know that our most important role is to do everything we can to make sure our students have the knowledge and skills and also the pathways and opportunities. We've launched several different initiatives to really move into focusing on literacy, Pat, focusing on STEM education, and then also skill development. Considering the importance of that whole education continuum from early learning through K-12, higher ed, and workforce, and how we might create those smooth transitions. One of the things that when you think about education, when you think about the viability of a community, and our economic development and chamber leadership is here, is the educational attainment of the community. The community where I live in Jefferson County is pretty similar to this county, with about 35% with an associate degree or higher. And we know that as we think about educational attainment, there's a lot of data that correlates to quality of life, health, etc. When you look at the Indiana data, and this is from the Commission for Higher Education, you can see, depending on the education level, the unemployment rate. That's that first column for those of you in the back. The Indiana labor participation rate, which is a constant conversation for business and industry right now. The wages, the median income, and the average net worth. And again, I'll share all of that data. The other unique piece of data that we have in Indiana that's really special compared to other states is when every child graduates from Indiana, we collect the information on what's their next step. What's your dream? What's your plan? The Indiana data shows that 76% of our high school graduates who walk across the stage plan to continue their education. They see that value. Part of our challenge for economic development and for our labor workforce is of those students who want to keep going, who want to continue skilling up, state average is only about 53% actually make it. So as a state, that's a 23% difference. That's about 15,000 children who have a dream, and then they don't make it. You know these children, you see them at the grocery store, you see them at Holiday World, you see them at church. They have that dream, and for whatever reason, life hits. In this county, I'll tell you it's 58%, so you're 5% above state average. The amazing opportunity we have, and again, this is why the business and industry community is so important, because we're on a mission for all children, regardless of whether they want to go straight into employment, enrollment, or enlistment leading to service. How can the plan that they've built in high school and upon graduation, how can we help them? How might we help them best connect to that next step? So when I came in, one of the things the governor charged our team with is, over the past decade or so, education had often made headlines, but it wasn't in the most positive light. And he said, in order to move anything forward, you're gonna have to set a clear vision. Clear pillars. He likes pillars, so I went with pillars too. Clear pillars with strategies, and don't try to boil the ocean. Go after those strategies and build out the tactics to support Hoosiers. So we spent a lot of time traveling the state, talking to a variety of people. These three pillars are very obvious, right? Student learning and opportunity, number one focus. Number two, educator talent, quality, and value. And pillar three, system alignment and capacity, which seems kind of like a boring one for educators, but it's a really important one, and I'll get to that. I'm not going to go over each one of these strategies, but if you can imagine, and you probably can't see this, but the education fundamentals, the pathways, including in our CTE space, which is so important, the focused partnership and innovation. Pillar two, educator talent, quality, and value. Elevating and supporting Indiana's educators. And I've asked our educators, and some of you have kids who are educators, and we have to share the good work. We have to share our story. We have to elevate, which is again why I so look forward to elevating the couple of districts here in this county. And then make sure we're providing the effective and best support we can. The system alignment and capacity really focused on that aligned, effective, efficient support, so removing barriers and unnecessarily laws and regulations. That's a work in progress. Aligning our resources so that our superintendents don't have 10 blocks of funding that they have to weave in and out, but it's really blocked in, that all their federal dollars, they can spend how they need to on the students that need it the most. Then on the partnerships and aligned support, that's all about the community level. Almost every tactic that I'm about to share with you was started in an Indiana community. And all we did was scale it. It started locally. The real change starts locally. So let's get into some tactics, and I'm going to really move through these. First thing is the value of early learning. Most of our Indiana counties do not have enough access to quality early learning. That's a reality we face. So anything in business and industry, and a lot of business and industries that I've talked to lately are even contemplating how they might, for big corporations, bring childcare or early learning opportunities into their workplace. A lot of ideas there. Schools are starting to bring them more and more. But the child's brain development, it begins immediately. It begins immediately. So the more that we can help students, it's not just learn like ABCs. It's really more learn how to be around others. Learn how to be even respectful of others. That starts so young. The other thing that we launched is we had an historic investment in literacy. Pat, we did. In August, we announced the largest ever literacy investment in the state of Indiana's history, $111 million. Lilly Endowment was a major funder of this. And the whole purpose is to give our teachers the best support that we can in science of reading strategies. Science of reading is a way of teaching, and I'll be honest with you, I was a teacher for several years and never learned how to teach reading. I was a high school teacher, a CTE teacher. So making sure our teachers have those supports and have the best practices, the most updated research in science of reading. So in fact, one of our superintendents is going to share more. They've leaned in big time and are a partner in this. iRead at grade 2. iRead is the only longitudinal student assessment we have in the state of Indiana. The rest have changed. So with iRead 3, we know that many people talk about the COVID learning loss. That's a common thing nationwide. In Indiana, our reading scores as a state our highest point as a state was in 2013. We were at 91.4% of children could read by the end of 3rd grade, which is where all the research correlates. If you can't read by the end of 3rd grade, you're less likely to graduate high school. I mean, you all as business and industry see this. So, this idea came from our schools. They said, well, what if we take this assessment at the end of 3rd grade, and that's when really it's the end point, couldn't we try it at 2nd grade and build out an on-track indicator for parents and teachers? So I will be honest with you, I almost killed this idea. I almost killed it. Because when coming in 2.5 years ago, this assessment did not have the best brand, if you will. But it was our only assessment to understand foundational reading skills. And it was our only longitudinal data point. And I had teachers saying, please let us try it. So we launched it, and a month before that window opened, we needed 30 to 35 Indiana elementary schools to sign up in order to build out the on-track indicator for parents, families, and teachers. We had 372 elementary sign up. This most recent year, 777 elementary schools. We have 1,051 in the state. And I remind our General Assembly, you didn't force schools to do it. It gives me coaches. We gave the opportunity, and schools have leaned in and just taken advantage, and it's pretty amazing. STEM focus. I heard several of your businesses that are in the science, technology, engineering, math, in that space. Even Holiday World, right? I mean, you're totally in that Thunderbird roller coaster that about ruined my life, literally, is all STEM. So a lot of support to teachers there. We've also launched, and this is a General Assembly line item, around 2.6 million to schools all over the state to really build the innovation. STEM is so much more than open your laptop and do the activity and we'll test you at the end of the week. STEM is hands-on. I visited several schools on the drive down from Indianapolis today on the way here, and oh my gosh, those students were telling me what they were doing. They were totally engaged. It was all hands-on. It was all hands-on. It was incredible. STEM certified schools is an option we have for schools who really want to lean into this space. We also had the General Assembly in 2021 when we arrived who said, this is good for you all to know in this room. They said, tell you what, we put a lot on schools. We asked them to do a lot of things. We really want to engage community partners. We really want to engage community partners like Boys and Girls Club, like Boy Scouts, like YMCAs, like, right, I could go on and on. You haven't gone, ministry partnerships, etc. So they said, we're going to establish a grant that allows community partnerships to help with reading, math, and college and career readiness. This was a big bet for Indiana. We were one of the first in the nation to do this. And at first, this was not popular with our educators because usually the money flows straight to us as educators and to serve kids. So now it's flowing to community partners and required the partnership with the community partner. We have watched, studied our return on investment with that. We have multiple different innovations. One was right in Marion County. And not everything's all about Indianapolis. From Southern Indiana, I get you, right? I hesitate to even use that example. Their local United Way partnered with a community organization, served all school types, and focused on reading and math tutoring. Another example, St. Joseph County in northern Indiana. That's where Notre Dame is. They partnered with, all the local schools came together and partnered with the Boys and Girls Club. And they nearly tripled the number of sites that they were serving students in poverty, and not only worked on reading and math, but they did really cool activities in entrepreneurship and mental health, and really tried to help them there. So the General Assembly is likely to, I can't say much is certain, but they're likely to reinvest in that. Indiana GPS characteristics. So another thing, the first year we got there is the General Assembly said, hey, you know, we've always published our test scores for schools, but there's really so much more that schools do, so many other indicators that matter that we should also consider when we think about the education value what's happening in a community. They said, so build a longitudinal dashboard, like this was the legislation, build a longitudinal dashboard, connect K-12, early learning, K-12, higher ed, workforce, connect the outcomes, go. So literally, as soon as the governor signed that bill, my phone started ringing off the hook with lobbyists. Like, boy, do I have the indicator for you. You need to, put this on your dashboard, put this on your dashboard. And the threat was it was going to be a random act of indicators all on a dashboard, right? So we paused and we said, you know what? A couple states have a profile of a graduate. We need to build one for Indiana. What do Hoosiers care about? From all kids, all parts of the state, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of how much their parents make or don't make, what matters? Is it only test scores? We didn't hear that at all. What we heard from Hoosiers, and we also said we can't have a list of 40. I'm sure y'all are looking at this list like, well, you're missing this, you're missing this, yes, right? A few of you are. I would probably be that person. I have no judgment. But what are the key indicators? So the first one, academic mastery, reading and STEM. The second one, career and post-secondary readiness, credentials of value. We have students across our state who are leaving high school, including here, right, with industry certifications. from CTE centers, with 1 year of college done from Ivy Tech or Vincennes. And going back to that educational attainment, that's an easy, we are probably one of the most well-positioned in the nation to turn that crank in 11th and 12th grade to give more kids access. Experiences, internships, work-based learning. If you're a business, today I met with Toyota out of Princeton. They have 4T going. Now I know Toyota it's a massive, right? Toyota's a massive business. So that's a different thing to have a system there versus if you're a small business. But I would challenge you, how might you as a small business provide student experiences? Because while we do everything we can in the four walls of a classroom, some of the best skill development, how to look people in the eye, shake people's hands, teaching them to talk rather than just tick-tock, working together with different people, collaboration, those skills, work ethic. We're not going to do it for you. You got to do it. And then finally, the skill of civics, financial, and digital literacy. I think many of you, your generation, you were taught to serve others. That gives me cold chills as well. Serve others before yourself. Serve them. Serve others. Give back to your community. We're working harder to make sure that's instilled in this current generation. Our teachers, we're working very hard in that, and we elevate that. Financial literacy, there's a bill moving through the General Assembly right now to require this at the high school level. So we've heard this for years, so that when students go to college or go to the employer and are offered a credit card, that they don't get 10 credit cards, right? So that's an important piece. And then civics, again. So in order, if those are our key characteristics, then one of the things we have to think about is, well, how do we measure them? I mean, how do we know what's really happening? Because the only thing really as a state and as a country we've measured is, again, through test scores, through select A, B, C, D on a test. So, and while there is value there, there's also value in really leaning in some other areas and how we educate our children, what the future of education could be. But one of the things, and this is all live, you can go to this right now. This is the long website, it's indianagps.com. And you can pull up any school in the state of Indiana, all school types, all are on here. But one of the things we heard from parents especially, and community leaders, is in education you all use all sorts of charts and graphs, you use all sorts of jargon. Can you make it simple? So the opening page starts with the why we're doing what we're doing in education, how we're trying to shift the focus, keep the good, but shift away from some of the out-to-date and lean in so that we can make sure every child knows their value, sees their purpose. Go ahead. But those infographics, those pictures are because of what we heard from Hoosiers. We have, for those of you who are data wizards, I know there are some of you in here, we have another page for you. We launched the first iteration December of this past year. The General Assembly said this wasn't due, we had homework, this wasn't due until July of 24. We launched it December of 22, and we have 6 iterations this year. One of the iterations, you can click on Advanced for any school, the Advanced button, and it will show you longitudinal data and by student population for every single indicator. It's the first time in Indiana's history, or really any state in the nation, that we've pulled indicators from multiple state agencies into one dashboard. And it's going to continue to improve, so we love your feedback. Let's keep going. Next steps of what we're building out is one for kindergarten readiness as well as work-based learning. The 3E grant, I'm gonna hold on a little bit because one of our school districts, or actually both of them did receive this, but the purpose of this, it was initially budgeted for $25 million for the whole state. We had $94 million in requests from throughout the state. We ended up awarding 57 million to all 92 counties. And the whole purpose of this is if we want students to have experiences at that high school level, the work-based learning and the credential opportunity, then we have to make sure we're helping them to engage and explore careers and what's possible in elementary and middle school. Because in many of our students, your children, you have a network. If they come to you and say, I don't know what to do, you have a network, you have a cell phone that you can call people. Most of our children don't have that, so they only know what's around them. That's it. So any chance we can again, to drive that purpose and opportunity. I will say on that focus, actually I'll wait until I get you on stage. Employability skills, we're working with several school districts across the state to pilot this. For years and years and years, our industry leaders have said, we need skills. We need skills then to pass a drug test. Come on, right? I was at a high school and heard industry leaders come in and say that over and over. But again, as schools, we didn't have any way to measure it other than select A, B, C, D on a test. And measuring skills looks so much different. So an example, visited a couple schools today where employers were using a rubric to evaluate the skill set of the students. How are they on communication? How are they on working well with others? What about their work ethic? It was a very honest evaluation. It goes to the teacher as the facilitator, and then they award the grade as they see fit. But it's a partnership opportunity. Crossing the finish line, again, you all had some right in this county who did this. We asked Ivy Tech and Vincennes, tell us pull the data for every child in the state of Indiana and tell us how many students, juniors and seniors, are within 1 to 3 classes of completing a credential by graduation. That, again, that first round of educational attainment. The data came back. Thousands of students appeared in this data set. That first year, which was, again, just last year, we had the first year over 1,400, the second year over 3,300 Indiana students lean in and say, heck, if you're paying for it, state of Indiana, I'm gonna do it for free and I'm gonna complete my credential, which benefits, again, the education attainment of the county, the economic development. What was fascinating is many of our parents and families and even our schools, it was a discovery for us too, because we didn't know so many students were that close. We're that close. A couple more classes and they'd have a credential. So that's gonna continue and likely funded by the General Assembly. The ESSER Gear Dashboard, those of you who are interested in the $3 billion the state of Indiana received in education from the federal government, it's all transparent. It's all on here. You can go to any school in the state of Indiana. You can sort by which federal grant. You can see how they're spending it. Are they spending it on after school learning or during school learning? Are they spending it on some capital projects like HVAC system? So that's all available for you transparently. The educator supply and demand marketplace. We know that many sectors of business have shortages. Education, we do as well. And there are a couple of key areas that we have that. We need special ed teachers, English language learner teachers, and then third is STEM teachers. Those are our top 3 statewide. But when we came in, we had a basic job bank that some schools were utilizing and some schools not. So again, putting my background in business to work and again, talking to business leaders, it was like, okay, how do we, if we have a shortage, how do we get the supply to meet the demand? How do you do that? So again, this is a first of its kind in the nation. We launched the demand side. Demand would be any school in the state who has a posting could post a position, all types, teachers, bus drivers, paraprofessionals. We need them all. Substitutes. So all of that is posted. We're getting ready to launch the supply. This was a huge build out because no one had this anywhere in the past. The supply is every teacher in a prep college, every person working on a certification, and connecting. Now it'll take the supply and artificial intelligence, tell them, hey, this school might be a fit. Maybe you should come to Spencer County, right? I don't know if we can like weigh it on Spencer County, but I'm just, maybe, and I can't do that, I'm sorry. Keep going. The real-time professional development. This was a really important one we heard from educators, and as I mentioned, so much of this started at the community level and we just scaled it. This one started at the community level during COVID. Schools across the nation, in fact, we were one of the last ones, to shut down our schools. Whether that's a good thing for you or not, we were, that's honest. And that's a whole nother story, Kathy, for another day. But we were also one of the first states to reopen our schools. And so what we learned there is that our educators really wanted, rather than like sit and get training like I'm giving to you right now, I'm really sorry about that. They wanted any time of day to be able to access the training that would help them with what they do every day and be a better teacher. So we started, when it was a local, it started at about 3,000 teachers were on this. We're up to over 38,000 teachers in about a year and a half. And we've now added, due to interest, a parent arm. Because parents are starting to say, hey, what can I do to help my child learn how to read? Like, how can I be a part of the solution, which we need? So that's a pretty cool one. You're all welcome to. These I'm going to move through really quick. Again, to our teacher shortage. We can either talk about the problem, we can either admire the problem, or we can solve the problem. We have a challenge in getting special education teachers. I just met with the Special Education Association this week, 2 days ago, maybe yesterday. We had, sorry, your all's calendars that way, you feel like they're, but we had last year 1,300 special education emergency license, meaning they had never had education in special education, 1,300. Today, and this came from, again, community partners coming together to build this out, various associations, et cetera. We now have, and that number is actually a little under what we have today, but we have almost 800 people who raised their hand and said, listen, I have a bachelor's degree in this other area, and I'd really like to help. I'd really like to be a teacher. And we can get them in a free training program specifically for special education. It's been an enormous success. So in our second most needed area, English learners, that population continues to increase in the state of Indiana. For our English learner teachers, we mirrored it. And so now we have that for our English learner teachers. So if anyone in here has a bachelor's degree and is interested in being a teacher, talk to me after. I'll stay as long as you need. And then finally, a state convening all over the state on attracting, preparing, and retaining teachers. That came from local ideas. I'm going to pause there and bring our superintendents up for a quick conversation. So gentlemen, we talked about we talked about the only way that our community knows what's happening in our schools is if we share our story. So I'd love for each of you to share your story. And the first topic, again, Pat Cook, this is a shout out to you. Let's talk about reading. What are you doing in your school to focus on science and reading practices?
Well, thank you first for inviting me to be part of this. Public education is my life, it's my passion, so much so that I came back out of retirement to get back into it. So in South Spencer, we're very fortunate. About a month ago, we learned both of our elementary schools, Luce and Rockport, qualified for the Indiana Literacy Cadre 2. So we're super excited about that. That means the next 2 years, both coach, and primarily kindergarten through third grade teachers. They will be working with these coaches to teach the strategies, the science of reading to improve our literacy. We are super excited about that. It's going to make a huge difference in our kids. People that know me know I'm pretty simple, and we have a simple statement on literacy. If you're a good reader, you'll be a good learner. If you're a great reader, you're going to be a great learner. So we're excited about that opportunity.
We don't have a grant.
You could. The window's still open.
So, North Spencer's story is really interesting because, you know, our high school is Heritage Hills, and what we're doing now in 2023 is really a result of those that came 25 years ago. So, 25 years ago, the leaders in North Spencer received a huge grant. I can't remember the name of it, but they began reading programs in the late 1990s. And those, again, you guys are all in business, you understand the value of culture in your company. So, you know, I was fortunate enough 13 years ago to become a superintendent of a corporation that had a learning culture. And so the challenge becomes maintaining and sustaining and improving that culture and not losing it. Because again, as you all know, if you lose culture, you lose culture. So we have reading programs that began in the late 90s. We did go through some challenging financial times in the early 2010s, 08 to 12. Now we have been able to restock our literacy coordinator. We have a director of learning. We were fortunate enough, as again, those of you that are keeping track, we have 4 elementary schools. For a corporation our size, that's really unique. And because we wanted to keep those schools open, those principals have become instructional leaders and literacy leaders because we can't hire anybody else. And so those small schools allow that to happen. And again, that good and great flywheel concept has just taken off. And so, you know, our challenge, unlike Brad's, is maintaining and sustaining those high results. And again, that comes from y'all at home. Teaching people to read at home is a big deal, and exposing them to literacy. Again, people before me and way smarter than me know that. It's my job trying to keep it going.
Thank you to both of you. And I've had the opportunity to visit both of your school corporations, Nancy Hanks Elementary School and Reading, and then Heritage Hills. Say it again. Oh my gosh. Well, they can tell where I was looking at. Now you know. Nancy Hanks Elementary School doing incredible work in the area of science and reading. And then Heritage Hills High School as well, we visited. So next thing, let's talk about community partnerships. I'd love to hear the value and an example of how you're partnering with your community, specifically in the high school space, with work-based learning, with credentials, of value. How does that look here in Spencer County?
Well, your community, we're Southern Indiana, so schools, whether it's North Spencer, whether it's South Spencer, whether it's Warwick County, whether it's Du Bois County, schools are a lot of times the focal point of those communities. And we're very, very fortunate, very blessed to live in a community that supports those schools the way ours do. So we don't take that for granted. We really don't. We need that support. We need that partnership. And in South Spencer, we're extremely excited. We're expanding our CTE program. Next year, we're going to be adding some programs, health science, nursing, radio, TV broadcast, criminal justice, precision agriculture, fire and rescue, just to name a few. So we are right now in the process of reaching out to our community members and saying, hey, can you help us in this area? Is there some, what can you provide us so that we can provide these kids the experiences, hands-on experiences you were talking about? So we're extremely excited about that. The benefit, I think we're going to get the most out of this, besides the kids getting the experiences, is it's going to give these kids purpose now, right? Purpose. Why do I have to pass 11th grade English? Why do I have to pass biology? If we can partner with our communities and give these kids these experiences to show them why that's important for your future, not only are they going to gain the value of the experiences, but now school has a purpose. So they're going to be more attentive. They're going to be more engaged. So learning is going to increase. So we're super excited about that and looking forward to it. And I'll say this, I mean, obviously we're hitting up our South Spencer folks hard, but if you're in North Spencer and you want to partner with us in some of these areas, we'd be happy to do that as well. You okay with that?
Just so you know, Brad and I spent a lot of time together at USI back in 100 years ago. We
Probably
played
too much.
intramural sports, and we won a lot, so we celebrated a lot. So we go way back. So at North Spencer, we were fortunate enough in 2018, I believe, to be the recipient of I think it was $350,000 or $380,000 Lilly grant. Lilly has just been incredible to public education. I mean, their philanthropy and giving is just off the charts. So we got a innovative counseling grant in late 2018-19, and we noticed that and you guys again, Brad knows this too. Forming relationships with kids is so much more valuable than quote unquote exposing kids to things. And so we had noticed, we did the reality store where the 8th graders would go through and draw a pretend job and or even pretend wife, thank heavens, or husband. But that was a one-shot, one-day deal for 8th graders, and we did the career fairs, and we still do. But we created an education and career planning coach. Actually, Todd Wilkerson, who's our football coach as well. Todd was in our counseling department, really as kind of a data collector, didn't have a counseling degree, and so we moved Todd to this coach. And what Todd's been able to do is connect with a lot of the local employers, not only in Spencer County, but DuBois County and Perry County. I don't know about Warren County, I'm not 100% sure. But beginning to bring into relationship the kids, for example, Moles and Crushed Stone. When our students think, well, I don't want to drive heavy equipment, they go to Moles and Crushed Stone and they see accountants, and they see business managers, and they see all these other job opportunities that are there that they didn't know. So we're loading up buses of 14 kids, because that's how many you can fit on a little white bus. You don't need a CDL to drive it, so. And so we're, really at this time of year, Todd is taking those students out. We have partnerships with several of the furniture manufacturers, making chairs and showing kids how to upholster. So, kids are learning names of people and not just places and people they want to connect to. And that would be a challenge I see coming, Dr. Jenner, is these internships. And this idea of going back to the way it used to be with it takes a village kind of mentality. If we're going to ask you as employers to begin, continue, or polish and shine our 18, 17-year-olds, you're going to have to be teachers as well. I now am fortunate enough to have a 27-year-old, a 24-year-old, a 21-year-old, and I'm telling you, they're not done. And so if you think because they got a high school diploma that they're done being educated and don't need your guidance, that's going to be a challenge. I know what you want. You want employees. But to be a successful community, you're going to have to finish employees, because that's just how life is.
So last question. We talked a little bit, and I moved through it pretty quickly, about the Indiana GPS, which is a first of its kind dashboard of every school in the state of Indiana. Yes, it shows iRead and iLearn and attendance and, you know, the basics, but it also shows FAFSA completion, 21st Century Scholar enrollment. It shows CTE concentrator completion. It shows of the graduates in this county, how many go into employment and enrollment after 5 years, after 10 years. Tracks that longitudinal piece. So this is very, very new, but really interested to hear from you how you are considering leveraging that data and working with your community to, again, continue to make improvements.
And first, I'd just like to commend you and the Department of Education for making the GPS available. I think it's going to be an outstanding tool for communities, for schools to measure where they stand. And I will apologize up front that I'm not a big statewide assessment testing guy. Not everything that's tested matters, and not everything that matters can be tested. I believe in that. I understand the accountability part of it, I do, and I think we need to be held accountable because our jobs are that important, and we are educating our future. So I don't take any of that lightly, but we go through the 1 week out of the year testing, so we get a snapshot of what each kid, where they are at that time. Now, in South Spencer, we have lots of alternate assessments that we're assessing our kids throughout the year. Sometimes I question, are we assessing them too much? But that data and that feedback is important because that's what drives instruction. But this GPS is going to give us an opportunity to tell our story, to show what our kids in South Spencer are doing, the great things they're doing. So we're excited about it, looking forward to it. I will tell you, I am not a technology enhanced person. I'm one of those, I'd be in the lower level.
You like the
of
picture
that.
images.
I would, but the good thing is I surround myself with people that are good at that. So we're excited about that opportunity and looking forward to working with that.
So backing up to the employer question, Brad and I both, South Spencer and North Spencer both received a 3D grant. I know that was on your slideshow and we skipped over thinking that we were going to talk about it, so we kind of missed that. But we got a grant through the state and our Southern Indiana Education Center, which there are 30 schools or so that are in that center. There are about, I think, 8 to 12 of us got the grant, and so we're doing more K-8, K-12 with employee profiles. So trying to identify skills at each level. And I really don't like pigeonholing young kids and saying, oh, you'd be a good X. But this particular plan now identifies skills, which, you know, there are skills that they should, can be learning at home, at church, at the Y, but that we can also emphasize. So that program is going on in both of our corporations. The GPS, I will say, my wife's GPS has like an Australian guy accent that kind of bothers me. So I don't know if we can get
You need an accent?
We just put Dr. Jenner's accent on there and it'll be fine. But the GPS tool, you know, as Brad said, I want to set up an applaud, but it was inappropriate to talk about state testing. I mean, right now state testing is beginning. If you have young children at home, it is not a false statement to say there are children every day in our schools crying this week about tests. There are teachers crying at our school about tests. And it's just a fact. And again, I know it's legislated and required and this and that, but the reality, you need to know that. That is happening. They are crying because of tests. This week. Last week, not so much. So the GPS, I looked at it a little bit after Dr. Jenner sent some of her prep questions and ideas. high achieving school corporation and have red marks. We all know in schools, red marks are not good. So you can be achieving at 95% last year, and this year achieve at 94%, and you're going to have red marks, even though you're still achieving way more than 95% of the rest of the state. So when you dig into that, I would encourage you to really, I think she iterated on her presentation, there's some really good stuff down there that you've got to click and you have to read. If you get on there and just say, oh my, South Spencer had green, red, and North Spencer had red, you're going to think that both are pretty stinky. And we may be. But I would encourage you as you use that to really look at what you're looking for and at. And I think I really speak for Brad as well. That dashboard is so meaningless if you don't come and talk to us about what you want, about what you need, and about what this community, because we are representatives of you. And sometimes we get that turned around a little bit and we think that you're here for us. That's not true. Now, it's easy when we fail, we say, you guys. Kind of like with the basketball team, when we win, the players get it, and they lose, it's coach's fault, right? So, but again, with the GTS, it's a tool that we've never had before. It does measure some things. Again, I would encourage you to read those deeply and see what it means. I'll give you an example. Work ethic. I would guess at every one of your tables tonight and in every one of your businesses, that means something a little bit different. And to put a label and a score on that is kind of tough. But that's what we were asked to do, so we did it. But again, I think it's great. I think, as Brad said, Dr. Jared, thank you for, I was just thinking as you're talking about your twin girls, thinking, what in the world are you doing in Spencer County tonight? You should be home with those girls. But thank you very much for your service. I don't know. I have nothing else.
So just a little fun fact, the red and green arrows, that iteration we heard loud and clear, it's a nimble dashboard. So that improvement, if you hit the state goal, which was set with business and industry, educators all at the table, then you don't have a red and green arrow. That iteration is coming. So if there are other things when you're on there that you feel like, gosh, it could be improved at this, we want to hear from you. It's really important because the data starts with conversations. It's just like if I don't get on the scale in the morning, right, and I just am blind to, you have to always be acknowledged where you are, and keep us posted on the improvements, right? Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for what you do day in and day out. As you asked me what I'm doing here with young kids, I could ask you the same as superintendents because I'm sure tonight you have multiple events going on at your schools, multiple staff members and teachers that you're trying to support and cheer up. It's the end of the year. It's always a tough time. And then one more, just full disclosure, so I don't get 150 emails. Assessments are federally required. If we, as a state, we could choose not to do them, but it would be about $1.5 billion a year that we would give up. So again, you're welcome to email me. I would love that. We just wanted you to know as well. It is such a pleasure to be here in Spencer County. Thank you for all you do to support your schools and your kids. And I'll be back again. Next time you see me, I'll be in a ball cap and jean shorts at Holiday World. So if you do a double take, it's probably me. Thank you all.
I say something really, really quick? Quick. Now, let's see, we've had this, you move this, figure out, it's gonna be short. Real quick, Spencer County leaders are out there on the table, free for anybody, and it talks about a couple, both school corporations in there, because they just had school board meetings. So please take one.
And Spencer County leaders are newspapers, not people. Thank you, Mr. Schneider and Mr. Sherry and Dr. I know your name, Jenner. We have so many people who compliment our schools, North and South Spencer. And I, for one, get followed wherever I go. Are you that lady? Are you that lady? Yes, I'm that lady. Don't hold it against me, okay? But people are moving here from all over, and the people from California say, your schools are great. They say, people are friendly. One man followed me out of the post office and said, I see people picking up litter. I've never seen that. So we've started picking up litter. See, it's contagious. And it's wonderful because we need to thank God for Spencer County and for Indiana, because those people who live where they live realize what a mecca it is. So let's all work together to make it better, okay? And thank you. Where is she? Oh, you know, now I'd like to introduce a woman who needs no introduction. She's almost at every meeting and keeping busy and running here and there and taking care of her parents and her children and all kinds of things. She is the wind beneath the wings of the Spencer County Regional Chamber of Commerce, and in many ways has helped to put Spencer County on the map. So please welcome Executive Director Kathy Recke.
Well, officially, good evening, everyone, and I want to thank all of you that stayed and did not get up immediately following Dr. Jenner and the superintendents. I'm just kidding to those that left. But if you do want to get another drink or go to the restroom, please feel free to. Mine is only going to be about another hour or so. I truly could go on for a long time because I would love to address each individual business, organization, community partner that's in the room, and then not even in the room. We are blessed to live in such an amazing area here in Spencer County and even our surrounding partners. We have amazing community partners with health and wellness, like Perry County Memorial Hospital, ARI. We are blessed. Even though we don't have an actual hospital or emergency room, we are blessed to have those caring partners around in our county that assist. We are blessed to have amazing homegrown businesses in our community, such as Winkler Grocers and Wholesale, Grandview Aluminum, Kenshard's Equipment, Spencer Industries, Thermwood. And our community would be just unbearable without Holiday World and Splash and Safari. If you know, you know. Oh, sorry, but I love y'all. We have some amazing nonprofit partners, nonprofit organizations in Spencer County, like our Spencer County Community Foundation, our Spencer County Habitat for Humanity, our Junior Achievement Program out of Southwestern Indiana, our United Way of Southwestern Indiana, and Success Through Mentoring. I'm just mentioning a few of each ones. Again, I would love to list each and every one. And we truly have wonderful educational partners, even Dan Cherry, like South Spencer School Corporation, North Spencer School Corporation, and Ivy Tech Community College. We really appreciate everything Katie and everyone from Ivy Tech does for our area community. We have a fantastic partner that helps us pull it all together in Southwest Indiana Workforce Board with Valerie and Whitney that help us with schools, with businesses, with education. So it's kind of a tie to everything. We have an abundance, no matter what people think, for our area, we have an abundance of wonderful restaurants, entertainment factions, like camping at Lincoln State Park, right, Katie? And going to amazing concerts at Lincoln Amphitheater. Retailers, service providers like Southern Indiana Power and PSC. I mean, we just live in a community that we have so much. And I think it's human nature. We always want more. And we will have more. I really do think that. I think our community is on the cusp of a growth period. So just stay tuned and listen, watch, read the Spencer County Leader, Spencer County Journal Democrat, and watch Channel 18 for some updates as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call up my chamber president, Rob Schulte. While he's up here, I want to talk about if anyone is not receiving communications from me, from our chamber, please let me know, because we have some amazing events, ribbon cuttings and grand openings and re-grand openings and all kinds of different things that happen in our community, morning brews, after brews. So we just want to make sure that you're informed, and if you want to come join us, we want you to be there. We want you to be meeting our community partners, your neighbors that are in Spencer County, and get to know what they're doing and maybe possibly a new resource for you. I am going to say super quick thanks to Chris and her crew with Caradella's Catering, Vince with Santa Claus Brewing Company. If anybody wants to have a business meeting over there, I'm happy to make that happen. Pastor Jill Ketzel with Noel United Methodist Church. Our Beta Club was fantastic in helping us serve and help out throughout the evening. Laura and the Heritage Hills Songbirds for providing the amazing music earlier. And we have some great plants on the table from our local farm markets, Dale Farm Market and Family Roots Nursery. And Hitin and Bagareth, they must have had to have left, excuse me. They're the new owners of Santa's Lodge. If you have not met them, they are loving this new community and welcome you to stop by anytime. Hitin is always here. And the annual dinner crew, Kathy, Pat, thank you so much. Al, you're a flippin' rock star. And Jenny, who hopefully will get well quicker than not. And Tammy and Sue, thank you so much for helping out front. Appreciate that so much. And just Dr. Katie Jenner, thank you so much for coming down. Thanks, Molly, for helping her to get down here. Although she kind of knew her way. And our awesome superintendents, Stan and Brad. We appreciate y'all very much, and what you lead is challenging day to day. We know that, so please don't think it doesn't go unnoticed. Chamber Board, thank you very much. They were already introduced. And I have to say my Spencer County Alliance partners are fantastic. As you all know, I'm a single chamber, single employee chamber, even though there's a lot of community partners that help often. Our chamber board helps often. But I have to give a shout out to my Spencer County Alliance partners, which is Spencer County Community Foundation, Spencer County Visitors Bureau, and Heidi with Spencer County Economic Development. And it is such an amazing tribe to have surrounding you. I'm not a smart woman, but I'm smart about who I surround myself with. So I truly appreciate that and everyone here. Rob, do you have amazing words of wisdom?
Very few.
Okay,
Very
all right.
few. Yes. Thank everyone for being here this evening as president of the chamber. It's great to see this crowd, and I do really appreciate everyone taking time. I know we're all busy. We all have games and meetings and everything, so I do appreciate you guys being here. Just real briefly, what we've done at the Chamber of Commerce, we've basically started on a restructuring of our board. We've done a lot. I'm not going to go into all of it because it would take too long. The only thing I'm going to talk about briefly, one of the things we're doing is we're kind of starting on a venture to bring different factions of our county together. We're going to try to bring our chamber, our county officials, officials from Rockport, from St. Meinrad, from Santa Claus, from Dale, Richland, and we're going to get them in the same room, and we're going to talk. I know that's great. Yeah. we're going to talk. We're going to exchange ideas. And we're going to see if that can't lead to not only some better collaboration, but just, maybe Santa Claus is doing something that Richland can use. And I think that's going to be a great thing. But there's a lot of things that we're changing. We've completely restructured our board. If you have questions, call myself or call Kathy. We're glad to talk to you about it. But we're just trying the best way we can to serve you, our members. Thank you.
And I'm going to say real quickly, I know we had our elected officials stand up, be recognized. I know Kim Lickenhoos, did she leave already, Jane? Dadgummit. Kim Lickenhoos from the town of Christie, the clerk treasurer, was here. Did we miss anyone else? Okay, well, fantastic. Let's do a few awards. Okay. How about that? All right. The first business that we want to recognize began in 1959 in Rockport as a Western Auto Parts store and has evolved over time into an amazing community partner that they are today. From expansions to remodels to incorporating a green initiative with geothermal heating and cooling for complete energy efficiency. Even more so, they're an amazing community partner, not only supporting local schools and organizations, but taking seasoned pieces of property and breathing new life into them and helping to create small businesses. The latest venture to be a coffee shop. Oh my God, a coffee shop. We're super excited about that. We don't really have a coffee shop. I mean, we have Stone Ridge, we have Circle S, we have Casey's, but a true coffee shop we're super excited about. It's being formed from an old gas station that has been sitting across the street from this business vacant for 22 years. So we're super excited to see what happens. And they will also be reviving their ladies' night out at the hardware store. So watch out, guys. Our 2022 Chamber Business of the Year is Obermeyer Hardware and Rental. We are super excited for them. John called me this morning. He and Allison, his wife, were supposed to be here. And he said, I hate to rescind my invitation, but they have 3 sick kids maybe at home. Did he talk to you? And
3 of the 4.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 children are sick, and he was sort of on his way to joining them. So we said, please stay at home.
Yeah.
So we congratulate Obermeyer Hardware and Rental. Our next business began construction in the late 60s, and when completed, went from a cornfield to an expansive 18-hole golf course, followed by a restaurant, pro shop, tennis courts, and pool. When the business came up for sale a few years ago, a group of local investors came together to really put new life into this beloved sanctuary in Spencer County. We may not have the tennis courts any longer. Maybe that can happen in the future, a revival. But the Back Nine Development Group has done a fantastic job of revitalizing the restaurant. Huge part in thanks to Chef Nikki. And if you all have not been to Chef Nikki, Matt has, you know, she is fantastic. So the course itself will be being revived as well. The front 9 is switched to the back 9, and vice versa. And they will be adding additional condominiums and down the road, single family housing, thanks to the Ready Grant initiative. Our Phoenix Business of the Year is Christmas Lake Golf Course and Back 9 Bar and Grill. And I don't think they were able to be here either. But hey, thanks John and Josh for everything you did up until they bought it. Our next organization was founded in 2002 here in Spencer County, and while the location may have changed, their mission hasn't. It began with assisting people ages 4 and up in equine-assisted activities for individuals with disabilities. But the program has expanded its service with equine-assisted learning, focusing on relationships and critical life skills, trust, respect, honesty, and communication. And there is also therapeutic horseback riding. if you haven't guessed yet, there are horses involved, very involved in this program. We appreciate the amazing group of mostly volunteers, and all they do. Our nonprofit organization of the year is Stirring Up Hope. And their director lives in Owensboro and was not able to make it, but she's a great Owensboro gal, Katie. All right, we have, I didn't even finish listing. We have a fantastic award. Kathy, would you like to come up? And Rob, I would even invite you to offer any input.
The next award is going to go to somebody whose heart has been, from the very beginning, truly in Spencer County. He has cared, he has been passionate, he has worked in so many ways to make things right, including a very great deal of advocacy for things like when they were going to close the 64. Nancy Hanks, yeah, I couldn't think. Rest area, and many, many, many other things. And so,
I also want to say from day one of the regional chamber, way before my days, fantastic advocate for regionalizing our Chamber of Commerce from four chambers within the county to one regional Chamber of Commerce, and has been an amazing role model and supporter of mine since I took the role as chamber director.
and speaking of that bridge that we talked about with Owensboro, he was really instrumental in the celebration, the bridge celebration that we held quite a few years ago, but it was a very wonderful event. And again, he is such a voice for Spencer County and has done so much. Can I say his name? He knows his name. Yes. Mr. Gene Steinkamp.
Do you have 10 words or less to offer, Gene?
Write it down, I'm speechless.
Oh my gosh!
That's never happened before in Gene's life.
That has never happened.
And I'm going to go ahead and give the next award as well.
Absolutely.
It is the Sinowick Award. And AEP people may know David Sinowick ran the American Electric Power for, I think, 7 years while battling cancer. He finally lost that fight, but started really with AEP creating an award for someone who has struggled through some sort of adversity. And the person whose name I'm going to mention, has been struggling with some adversity with health this past year or this past couple of years. But before she retired, I would say she was the best solid waste director in not only this area, but I think the whole state. Incredibly innovative with the things she did. Just really amazing. And I'm saying this, and my niece is the solid waste director in Du Bois County, so maybe don't let this get back to her. But she learned a lot too from Mrs. Debbie Steinkamp, who is
Now, for those that may not know, Debbie and Gene are married. And their entire amazing family is here. Don't leave, we want pictures after a while, Steinkamp kids. We had Gene telling Debbie we had Gene believing they were coming because Debbie was receiving an award. We had Debbie believing they were coming because Gene was receiving an award. So it was pretty darn cool for... Yeah, they are, yes. The Steinkamp kids and family are back there. So we appreciate you all coming and supporting this evening. I know you know this, but your parents are pretty phenomenal. So we've been pretty blessed to have them. Thank you, Debbie. Jean and Debbie. Woo! I'm gonna get emotional and start saying words that aren't true. Okay, so we have a wonderful Horizon Award that we started a few years ago in the chamber, and I hate that she's out of town. She's one of our fantastic board members. She has taken a family farm that was really old and well loved and revived it into a beautiful bed and breakfast, a beautiful event barn. And if you all have not been to Matilda's event barn and bed and breakfast, you're missing out. So she has such a philanthropic heart, is helpful with so many amazing community efforts. So we would love to award the 2023 Horizon Award to Matilda's Event Barn and Bed and Breakfast. And we thank Jane Schiff. Okay, is that it, Al? Is that all? Huh, I don't know, one didn't make the slide. I feel like we have one more, possibly. Again, I love to surround myself with smart people, and when there are people that go above and beyond to help me in my job and my position, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Last year, if anyone came to our awesome 2022 chamber event that was at Lincoln State Park on the absolute hottest day of the year at the amphitheater, we enjoyed, but my gosh, we were sweating, our board members just had things to do. They were not able to help out, except for this guy. And throughout the year, he has consistently been so helpful, so supportive, and he has been amazing tonight as Katie's personal slide projector person. So Al, I truly appreciate you. I appreciate every business that allows a person from their organization. So thank you for allowing Al to come and spend some time with us. So we would love to give you the board member of the year, Al.
I did not know this.
So if on the table, if you happen to see, there are just a few, but they are highlights of chamber endeavors. And Rob has talked about a few that we also are coming up to in the next year, or within this year and beyond. But we have some amazing things, like Rob himself and some of his partners are so awesome and building this amazing community of duplexes, 50 units, 50 doors,
Yes.
25 duplexes. So we can't, so much that we appreciate that you are helping towards the true housing crisis that we are in Spencer County. But thanks to you, partners like you, we're going to expand that. So just be watching for a hopeful 2023 new Ready initiative by our state. We are really hopeful about that. Lincoln Amphitheater was also able to start some expansion opportunities. And so there are so much going on. And again, I know it's late in the evening. Rob, what else do you want to say? Anything? Do you want to close with a song?
Not a chance.
No? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm dead. They don't want me to either. So, yeah.
Yeah, no.
No, again, thank everybody. Again, we don't know how lucky we are. There's things that we can do better, but we're in a great place, and we're very thankful. So thank you all for being here. Drive home safely, and good night. Thank you.
Yes.